Welcome friends in a new lecture on interest rate modeling with LSTM neural network. So let us have a recap of first what we have already covered in this module. So here in this module we are discussing the modeling part of interest rate. So far we have discussed the importance of interest rate in various financial analysis. So it is mostly used in finding the value of various financial assets. So for example, you need to determine the value of your bond. So you need to find an appropriate interest rate, and you have to use that the value of that interest rate for determining the fair value of a bond. So when you are going to buy a bond, first you need to find the fair value, because the fair value has to be more than its price. Only in that condition you will be interested to buy the bond. Or if you have some other objective, like you want to use it in your portfolio, so that is another different matter. But in general, you will buy only when its fair value is more than its price. So how you will determine the fair value of a bond? You need to select an appropriate interest rate. So also in case of derivatives, for example, you use interest rate to model various parameters of derivatives. So in case of derivative, you take the short rate interest rate. For example, in the Black-Scholes model, you use the interest rate to model the derivatives outcome. So interest rate is a very important tool for finding the fair value of either the debt instrument or the derivatives. For example, you have the equity derivative, or you might have the currency derivative or the commodity derivatives. So there are various kind of derivatives available in the market, like forward contracts, which are over the counter contracts, whereas other exchange traded derivatives are available, like futures, options. So various derivatives are available. So when you go to model, when you go to find the price of this derivative, or when you go to find the fair value of this derivative, you need to incorporate interest rate. For different valuation purpose, you require different kind of interest rate. So in the previous lecture, we have also discussed various kind of interest rate that we can employ for the valuation of various financial assets. Like we discussed the risk-free rate. We also discussed the LIBOR rate, which has now been phased out. We also discussed various other kind of interest rate, like prime rate or other, like repo rate. So there are various kind of interest rate. You need to select the one that is means you have to your asset will decide which kind of interest rate you need to select. So market interest rate. So I have also discussed in the previous lecture how you can select the appropriate interest rate, or you can select the similar kind of security which are already available in the market, and then you take the data, you take the yield of those securities, like that, like risk-free bonds are available. So based on your based on the credit risk and the other characteristics like maturity period, you find the similar kind of security in the market and take the data, and you can use it as the yield of those security as an interest rate in order to find the fair value of your security. So there are so various methods we discussed how we can find the market interest rate. So and also we discussed a very important tool. Also we discussed mathematical modeling of these interest rate. We also covered various mathematical models like Cox-Ingersoll model. Also we covered the Wazi-Check model, and other models to model the interest rate. One of the drawback of using those model is to find the parameters of those model, like mean reversal, speed of mean reversal. So you need to accurately put the value of the speed of mean reversal. Also, since these models are based on Brownian motion, so Brownian motion is a concept in physics that we use. So Brownian motion, so we make a model based on Brownian motion, or called the Wiener process. So we assume that the interest rate has a mean reversal characteristic. So for a longer, so it approaches towards a longer term mean of the interest rate. So by these assumptions we define certain parameters, and if you use this model, you have to calibrate this model with the market interest rate data. We can avoid the use of this crisp mathematical model by using neural network. So we have already discussed in the last lecture how we can model the interest rate without assuming any crisp mathematical model. So we talked about the recurrent neural network. We used the recurrent neural network to model the interest rate. One of the problem with recurrent neural network is that it is very inefficient for long-term dependencies. So although it is good for modeling the sequential data, like time series or like a sentence in natural language processing, although it is a very good model, but in case of a long-term dependency, its efficiency it is not very efficient. Its performance is not so good. So in order to overcome those shortcomings, a new variant of recurrent neural network has arrived. We employ, that is called the long short-term neural network. So this long short-term neural network overcome the shortcomings of the conventional simple recurrent neural network. So let us discuss what long short-term memory networks and its importance in and we will discuss the various steps, the flow chart, how we can train the long short-term memory, and then how we can model the interest rate. So let us start our discussion with understanding the long short-term neural network. So the long short-term neural networks are a type of recurrent neural network architecture, as we have already discussed, designed to overcome the limitation of traditional RNNs in capturing long-term range dependencies. So in sequential, as I have already told that the RNNs are very inefficient in finding the long-term dependencies. So we design a different architecture, a different cell or a different LSTM unit that is designed for capturing the long-term dependency. So it also a kind of recurrent neural network, but here we also use the long-term time dependency input. So let us discuss what it is. So let us discuss the structure of LSTM. So this is the schematic diagram of LSTM unit. So here you have the different gates. So these gates act as an input to find the next state of the system. So let us understand what these gates are and why it is used. So the first one is the input gate, denoted by IT. So here is the input gate. As you can see, this is the input gate. So this input gate you use for determining how much of the new information will be stored in this state. So this input get determines the amount of new information that will be stored in the cell state. So it takes the current input xi, xt and the previous hidden state st minus 1. So as you can see that the previous hidden state is going into the input gate, and also the current xt, so sorry, the current input. So current input is also going, as well as the previous state is also going into that. So we have already discussed what states are and how the output is generated. So the input get output, so it takes the current is input xt and the previous hidden state st minus 1 as an input, and outputs a value between 0 and 1. So it uses a sigmoid function and it gives the 0 or 1, it gives a value between 0 and 1. So this can be can be written by this formula. So here is the wxi into xt, the weight for the input, current input, and it is the weight for the previous state, and this is the bias, and you will get the output by putting all this weighted sum into the sigmoid function. You will get the output between 0 and 1. Similarly, let us talk about the forget gate. So forget gate, here is the forget gate. This also uses the sigmoid function to give the output. So here also you get the current input as well as the previous input. Sorry, current. So here, what this gate decides what information should be discarded from the cell state. So it considers the current input and the previous input and the output's value between 0 and 1. So determine how much of the previous cell state should be retained. So here you can see it filters out the information, and it decides how much of the previous cell state ct minus 1 should be retained. So ct minus 1 is the previous cell state, and it decides how much it will be retained, and it passes. Then talking about the cell state ct, the cell state ct stores long-term information. It is updated based on the input gate, forget gate, and the current input. So we have already discussed the input gate, forget gate, and the current input. So these are used as an input, and the cell state is determined by the ct. So it is written by ft into ct minus 1 plus it into tan hyperbolic here of these sum. This is the current input, this is the previous state, and this is the bias. So here you can get the ct. It is represented by this circuit diagram. So mathematically you can find this. Now talking about the output gate. So output gate determine the next hidden state st. So based on the current input and the previous hidden state, you determine the output gate, output value. So it also uses the sigmoid function, the current state, the previous state, and the bias. So here you can see the output gate, and the last one is the hidden state. So the hidden state at step t is computed based on the cell state and the output gate. So here is the formula to get the hidden state. So this hidden state will again be used for the next LSTM next unit. So this is all about the long short term memory networks. So it handles the long term dependency more efficiently as compared to the conventional RNN. So So the conventional RNN, as we know that now some new term you now understood about the LSTM. Now we will discuss how to train LSTM. So before going to discuss how to train LSTM, we need to discuss various flowchart as we discussed in the RNN case also. The flowchart is similar for training the LSTM model. So it is similar as we used in RNN. So let us discuss the various steps involved in training an LSTM model. So let us discuss various steps involved in training the LSTM model. So it is similar to what we employed in the case of RNN. The steps are not quite different. Only difference is that instead of using RNN layer, you will use the LSTM layer. So let us discuss the step first. So the first step is to prepare the data set. So you will collect data set, process data set, transform data set into sequence, and then normalize data sets. How you will normalize the data set? Using min-max scaler as in the case of RNN. So this step has no difference to what we have already discussed in the case of RNN. Now we will do the splitting of data set. So we will divide the entire data set into training and testing data set. We will separate features and labels in the data set. Then once our training and testing data set has been prepared, what we will do, we will initialize. Here I have made a mistake. Here it should be LSTM. So here what we will do, we will define LSTM model. So what we will do, we will initialize a sequential model. So sequential model is nothing but the stack of layers. Then we will add LSTM layer and the dense layer. So what is LSTM layer? We have already covered what LSTM unit is and the layer. And then we will use the simple feed forward network after the LSTM layer. So we will add the dense layer, and then we will compile the model. So we will choose one. We have to choose one optimizer as well as the loss function. So we have already covered this part in the RNN. So now what we will do, we will evaluate. Once we have compiled the model, we will train the model. So while training the model, we will use the training data set, as we have already made the training data set by splitting the entire data set into training and testing data sets, and then we will validate the model by splitting the data set into multiple folds to monitor the performance of the model, so that the model should not be overfitted or the underfitted. Then we will evaluate the model using the test data set. So the next step is evaluation of the model. So we will evaluate the model using the testing data set, and once we are satisfied with the testing data set, we will compare the actual data as well as the predicted data, and then we will compare. Once we are satisfied with the model, then we will start making the prediction on the new data. So this is all about the entire flowchart of training an LSTM model. So so this is all about the flowchart that we employed to train the LSTM model. Now what we will do, we will understand various libraries that we will use in this analysis in case of building the intersect model. So let us start the discussion. We require the pandas library. So these are the libraries that we want, that we need for training the training the LSTM network. So here we need to install these packages. So we have already covered the dependencies and various package libraries that we require for this course, you can use pip install command to install these libraries. We have already discussed these library in our introductory lectures. You can also find installations code on Google also. So how you will install, you can get using the pip command. So on PyPy website you will find the pip command to install these libraries. So let us discuss what these libraries are. So as we discussed, we require the sequential model, then we require the TensorFlow from this library, TensorFlow.keras.layers. We require the LSTM and the dense layer. Then in the sklearn.preprocessing, you require the min-max scaler, and you also require sklearn.model selection from train test split to split the dataset. And to evaluate the model, you require the z-score, or for evaluating the model as well as for pre-processing the data, means removing the outlier and other pre-processing part, you need these functions and this library as scipy.state. So this is all about the libraries that we will be using to model the interest rate. So let us load the data. So you will have to load the data using this command. So pd.read CSV. I saved this interest rate in the gov.csv file. So this interest rate yield is given. So and we want to model the yield of this interest rate. So here is the plot. You can display the various row also, and here is the you need to convert the date column into which were all originally in the string format into a date time format. Then you can display it. You can plot also using the data using the plot command. You can plot also. You can see whether everything is okay or not. Now other thing you will do, you need to resample the data, as we have already discussed resampling in our previous lectures. So you need to resample, and after resampling you need to remove the null values, and then you need to remove the outliers based on the z-score. So you will convert this data set into z-scores, and you will remove those rows which has more than 3 or equal to 3 z-scores. So based on the z-score you will discard the outlier. Then what you will do, you will extract the yield, because we want to model this yield. This yield is the interest rate. So we have already discussed what risk-free interest rate is. So here is the Indian government bond, which we can take as a risk-free return or risk-free interest rate. So the rate this bond provide could be considered as a risk-free rate. So we will model this. So first you need to pre-process you need to make the range of this data between 0 and 1. So you can do this by min-max scaler function. So your data will be scaled up between the value of 0 and 1. So now you need to once you have scaled the data, other thing is you have to create sequence. So we have already discussed this part in the RNN lecture. So you need to create the training data set. So how you will create the training data set? You need to create sequence. So first you need to select the length of the sequence based on which you want to produce predict the output. So let us say here I have selected 30. So the length of the sequence I have selected 30. So the sequence length I have taken 30. So this will create input features and the output. So 30 will be the sequence length and corresponding the next output, next term will be the output. Similarly, we will select next 30 and then next and the next term will be output. Similarly, like rolling window, we will select the sequence. So we have already discussed this part. So we have taken sequence length 30. Now let us. So here we have taken the sequence length 30, and we got the training and the testing features and the target. So X is the feature, Y is the target. So by using this function, as we have defined this function here, so what we are doing, we are just taking a rolling window. So we have taken a window of length 30. So this 30 element, the 31st element will be the output, and these 30 element will be the feature. Similarly, we shift one by one, and we have created a number of input and output in that case. So this is what the sequence is. Then we will split the data set. So we have already prepared the features which are stored in X and the target value which are there in the Y, and then we will split the data set in using the train test split function. Based on your ratio, there is no rule of having this train test set. It depends upon your data set. So normally we take 80-20 ratio. So let us first build the LSTM model. So we build the LSTM model by using this sequential function, as we have already discussed what it is. So it creates a stack of layer. So you have a multiple layers using this sequential model. Now you want to add various units or various layers to this stack. So first you take the LSTM layer. We have already discussed what LSTM layer is. So it will be so you take one LSTM layer, then you need to define the activation function and the input shape. So input shape will be the sequence length, that is 30, and the one, and then you add a dense layer and then compile the model using the ODEM. So here we have we have compiled the model. Now the next step, as we have already discussed, we will fit the model with the training data set. So here is the features of the training data set. Here is the label of the training data set, the epochs or the iterations that we want to iterate it, and the validation split. So cross validation we will do. So we will determine the loss corresponding to this. So when you run this command, it will take time to complete all the iteration. Once the iteration is completed, you are ready to evaluate the model using the model.evaluate function. You can find the test loss. Also, you can do the prediction using model.predicts using X test data, so that you can compare. So let us plot the test and the actual data side by side. These are dotted line are the predicted, whereas the blue one is the actual data. You can see how well fitted this predicted value is. So in this way you can model the interest rate. So this is the end of the interest rate part. So let us recap what we have learned so far. We have employed the machine learning tool like RNN and LSTM to model the interest rate. So there are various conventional models like Cox-Ingersoll or the Weissenschek model to model the interest rate, but those model has some limitations as well as you need to calibrate those models with the help of market data. If you don't want to do such a step, then you can model directly using these neural networks. So we have already covered what these neural network is and how we can model these data set. We have also covered the importance of interest rate in the valuation of various financial assets like debt instrument, like bond valuation, or like derivative, the valuation of various derivatives. Now in the next, now let us end this module because we have covered this part. In the next module we will discuss other important financial applications of machine learning. So thank you very much for joining this session. Stay tuned with me. We will meet in the next lecture. So